For our final session of the morning, it gives me great pleasure to welcome again Margherita Della Valle, the CEO of Vodafone, to our conversation. Margherita, last year when we spoke, you promised a very busy year ahead, and it has been a very busy year at Vodafone, consolidating your businesses around the world, but also simplifying your operations internally. And I'm going to dive right into that discussion. And there is a context, which is that the telecoms market has not been looked at easily by the equity markets over the last several years. And Vodafone has also had that challenge to manage despite the huge amount of change. But I'm going to start off with a big success, and I'm going to start off here in the UK. You've put huge energy, and there has been huge discussion about the need to consolidate the market here. It's the same in many European geographies. With the announcement of legal day one, formally on Monday for the Vodafone 3 merger, you've achieved that. And I recognize there are more announcements to come, but I just wondered if you could give a little bit of context for that really exciting shift in the UK, Margherita.
Sure, I could talk for hours about it because we are genuinely hugely excited about the UK merger. As you said, it has taken us 2 years to get there. But if you think about it, for us telecom people, it's a dream come true. We are going to now build our best network in our own market. And you will see the team in the UK talking more about it in the coming weeks. But we are going to get off to a very fast start. We are going to invest already this year £1.3 billion in one single mobile network in the UK. That's unprecedented. And we look forward to really bring better quality, better speed to businesses and consumers across the country. A year ago when we were together, I'm sure we were talking about how bad the network situation is in the UK. Well, that is now going to change. And we really look forward to be a leader in our own market.
So that is wonderful to hear. And at the heart of this deal is the customer priorities that you're focused on. And as you say, the network investment to really transform what we have. Now, the UK has also been the third element, really, of a bold plan of change. You have sold the Spanish operation. You have now completed the sale of your Italian operations. And so what is the new group, and how are you prioritizing where Vodafone goes now?
It's all following the plan that I laid out when I became CEO 2 years ago. I said Vodafone must change. And I think it's fair to say 2 years on, there has been quite a bit of change, and we have executed absolutely along the lines of that plan. 4 things are really different today than they were 2 years ago. The first you mentioned, we have reshaped our presence in Europe. And now we can look forward and say, we are in strong positions in all our markets. We have good scale to invest in all our markets and to win. The second thing that changes, we have reset our debt. We have reduced it by a third, 10 billion in 2 years. And having a flexible balance sheet is also very important to be able to grow.
It's a good lesson for countries, by the way, on a serious note.
And in the third and fourth positions, really very important for us internally, although less visible in the news flow, we have reset our customer experience. Again, we talked, I think, about this last year. This has been a year for us of best evers in customer experience across Europe, and we couldn't be more proud. And finally, we have simplified the way we operate. All of this together is what has allowed us now to look at the future, saying we are where we want to be, we are doing what we want to do, and now we will grow, which is why the guidance we have given already for this fiscal year, FY26, was seeing substantial growth of Vodafone, and then we expect multi-year growth ahead.
And do you want to talk a little bit about those priorities for growth? When you look at that landscape, and you look at that structure and the shift, and you can now really turn your attention to that growth opportunity.
I think the growth agenda comes out very clearly from really where the shape of Vodafone is today. If you look at our assets across Europe and Africa, you will find that in 2/3 of our geographies, or rather in the geographies that represent 2/3 of our size, we have substantial growth potential. We call it our growth portfolio. And because we have effectively a unique combination, we have a significant track record of growing, we have substantial potential for further growth in telcos, and we have a clear execution plan. And so maybe just to give you a flavor of that, a quick whistle-stop tour of what that means, actually starting from the UK. The UK is a case in point. In the UK, we have now been outperforming the market on all metrics you can think of for some time. We now will have a leadership position in mobile. We are the fastest growing challenger in fixed. And on top of all this, we will have 700 million of annual cost and capex synergies, which at the scale of Vodafone is more than 25% cash flow upside just from that. So the UK will grow, but then also all the other geographies. If you think about the emerging markets across Africa or Turkey, again, we have very strong positions in each market. We have a good track record of growth, and the potential in those markets goes well beyond the normal telco space. We're seeing connectivity growing across Africa because the population grows, the data demand grows. But you also have financial services, double-digit growth. Digital services, well beyond what we see in Europe. Sovereign data centers have been a thing in those markets for some time. So we are going to get the benefit of all this. And then finally, this is 2/3 of Vodafone growing fast today. A third is Germany, which is a favorite topic because it's the market we are turning around. The good news is that this year we are going to grow in Germany on the top line, but we are still investing substantially in the market. So the priority for us is to bring it to growth also on EBITDA and cash flow going forward.
And the other geography you haven't talked about, but where you have a lot of innovation, of course, is Turkey.
Yes.
So there really is opportunity in that. Now, as customers, we also like a really competitive telecom market. Another question I had for you, and it's a growth opportunity, but it's a challenge, is despite the intense competition, you've got MVNOs coming into the market. We've got Revolut, you've got Octopus here in this country and elsewhere. Are MVNOs a big challenge for Vodafone, or are they an opportunity? And how do you see that trade-off and balance?
I see it as there is room for everyone. If you read the sort of proceedings as we were going through the merger, one of our big cases was to build a big network, not to leave it empty, but to use it. And if you look across our geographies in the last few years, we do very much retail and wholesale. The problem of telcos has been, and I think there is still work to be done in Europe on that, not so much the competition on pricing, but the lack of scale in infrastructure. That's what we need to address. And that's why I was very keen to work in the markets where I can have the scale to invest and build those good networks for the benefit of everyone. If you are fragmented in a high capital intensity industry, there is no way to go. Scale brings success, and I think the whole of Europe now needs it.
And it's those financial metrics that have really underpinned the base of the strategy, the decisions that you've made, and the platform that you now have. Now, one of the things that we're seeing, and you've described it already, is a very intense focus on the development of your core network connectivity, terrestrially, fixed, mobile. But you're also now starting to explore satellite. You've got the partnership with AST. You're thinking about the role that satellite might play in connectivity. I'd love you to explain to the room how you see that, what it's going to mean for us, and how long that's going to take. And of course, you've had the very exciting first video call over satellite only very recently, so I'd love to hear a little about that.
Yes, I think you will continue to hear me very vocal on satellites. And by the way, not any satellite services is what we call direct to mobile, which allows our users with their normal phone to access satellite connectivity, not going through the hoops of building special equipment. I think this is really transformative because we want to connect everyone wherever they are. And satellites will be a fabulous complement in giving the best service to our customers. We have been investing in this space for quite some time. We started supporting a company called AST back in 2019.
Yep.
And the reason why we did that is they have, to this day, the only satellite technology that allow you to have a full broadband data service on normal devices, which is where we did the world first video call. It was just to say, this is not text messaging. This is the full mobile experience, wherever you are. So we will continue working on this. As you may remember, we are planning to introduce the service all across Europe commercially in the coming year. And the key point of work for us in the telco industry at the moment is to ensure that regulators are keeping up to speed with the change of the technology. It's really, really critical that regulators sort of design the rules for three things: spectrum, interference. We will live in a world in which you will have a fixed network, a mobile network, a satellite network, obviously subsea cable. We will cover all this. You need to make sure each of them works without interference. And then last but not least, particularly for Europe in this day and age, security. What are the security rules? What are the compliance needs that will apply to satellite? I think it's really important that regulators get there so that we can send the full service out for the customers.
And we had a very good conversation last night around the criticality of consistent, clear regulation to enable these build-outs. And I did want to explore a little more. That satellite offering is a potential growth driver, but it's also around resilience, it's around security. And I wondered if you could just comment on Vodafone's role in driving resilience and security in our networks in the UK and across Europe, because it is very pivotal. We don't see it all the time, but we know that it is central to how we can all operate in a digital world.
And I think everyone is really waking up to this point. You are spot on. Ultimately, we manage critical national infrastructure. And I think we have seen it through COVID. We have seen it whenever there is a crisis. We need in Europe not just well invested, but also resilient networks. And from that perspective, again, we manage the full suite. We are a very big player, for example, on the subsea cable space, where resilience is so
heavily driven
crucial.
by the cable and wireless. Of course, here in the UK.
We have a very proud heritage. We are actually just completing these days the largest submarine cable project in the world around Africa. It's called To Africa. And what is really important for me is that not only now regulators and government focus on this aspect of resilience and security, but also that they focus around this beyond boundaries in Europe. If you think about it, I mean, our cables go across borders. And I think it would be so much better for the resilience and the security of Europe if the UK and the EU were cooperating, for example, on creating redundancies in case of failure, in piggybacking the security we put on our networks. I think this should be a big agenda point.
And are you positive about that? Do you see that conversation getting stronger?
I think everyone wants to move in this direction. So I am positive. I think the only challenge, as always, is the speed.
So you've talked a lot about the market and transformation in your businesses. What about what's happening inside? You were formerly the CFO of Vodafone. You led the digital transformation. You drove the shared services programs, the logistics and the way you buy around the world. And you are a huge buyer of services and equipment in Europe and globally. I just wonder if you could talk quickly about those internal changes and shifts.
I need to say internally, the most important point is not cost management. It's customer experience.
Good.
And you've heard me say this last year, telcos have been really bad. And so I felt for us it would be a fantastic opportunity to actually reposition the investment in giving our customers what they want, which beside the technology we're so passionate about, is basic, simple service. Yeah, connect, disconnect. It's just getting the basics right. And I need to say, again, 2 years on from the reset, this is probably the part that has given me the biggest satisfaction personally, because the whole company has mobilized behind this. And everyone wants to do the right thing for the customers, but you need to put the processes, the money, the focus on it. And then, well, if I take the example of the UK, we were number 3 in customer satisfaction in the market only a few years ago.
Yeah.
We are now number 1 on mobile. We are number 1 on fixed. Germany, not yet number 1. But we have just recorded, again, on all products there, the best customer experience score on NPS, Net Promoter Score, that we have ever recorded. Now, my investors, when they hear me talking about this, always think, so where are the revenues? It's not about the revenues, it's about loyalty. And loyalty is what we need in our businesses. And I'm proud to say, I was saying it's been a year of best evers. In the UK, we have had the highest loyalty we've ever had this year. And we will see gradually the whole system, in a way, improving for the benefit of happier customers and also better results as a business.
So simplification driven by customer experience at the heart of it. And I have one final question before everyone can go to lunch, which is, when we're back here in a year's time, how do you think Vodafone's strategy position will have evolved relative to where we are at this really pivotal and exciting moment today?
We have the shape we want.
Yep.
We have the growth we want. I think what you should expect to see more of is, I would say, a bit more of the Vodafone red across the world in 2 areas, brand and innovation. And brand, we are investing more on it. We are back into sports with Borussia Dortmund, I think, announcement a week ago. So it's football in Germany.
Yes, it is.
It's rugby at the moment in the UK and Ireland. It's volleyball in Turkey. So we will want to be close to our customers also on these moments. And innovation, again, the satellite call was one example of that, but we have fantastic engineers and technology leaders across the business, and we want to bring more innovation, again, for what matters to the customers.
Margherita, that's fabulous. Thank you for giving us a very clear view of where you are, where you're heading, and I'll go back to the start of our conversation and say very, very good luck with the integration of Vodafone and 3 here in the UK. I know it's an enormous task, but it's one that can offer an enormous transformation for customers in terms of the network change and in terms of the service. So good luck with that, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.